Okay, today's Monday, June 17th, and we'll call this regular city council meeting to order. If everyone would please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Deb.
Don.
Yes.
Kathy. Harley.
Here.
Brad.
Here.
Rodney.
Here.
Jessica. Here.
Thank you. Entertain a motion to approve today's agenda with one amendment. Agenda item number 10, we would like to move that to actually to the end of our agenda.
Move to approve the amended agenda.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, Deb.
Don.
Yes.
Harley.
Yes.
Brad.
Yes.
Rodney.
Yes.
Jessica. Yes.
Motion carried, thank you. Across the mayor's desk, just want to say that as we know, a week and a half from now is the 4th of July weekend, and just wish everyone a safe and fun weekend. Also, just a reminder that ABATE will be here with, and there'll be several more motorcycles in town, so please be careful as you travel around Algona. And I think they're here beginning maybe Wednesday, the 3rd of July, through possibly Saturday or Sunday. So. And just to note also, I know there's been questions, the fireworks will actually be on Thursday, the 4th of July, and they'll be at dusk. So hope everyone is able to get out and enjoy those. So, council have anything that they would like to share?
Yeah, I'd mention that this Friday, the 21st, is summer solstice, and the SPAC is having an event out at Plum Creek Winery again, like they have in past years. They have music out there and some snacks, and you can get some wine out there. They've got a lot of it. So invite people to come out and enjoy summer solstice out at the Plum Creek Winery. I believe it's in the evening, 6, 7 o'clock, something like that. I'm not sure at the time.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, we'll move to update from the city administrator.
I'd like to invite Joanne up to share a few announcements.
Hello, everyone. Just wanted to remind you all that the 25th Founders Day is going to be happening here pretty quick, right after July 4th, July 11th to 14th. So we got a lot of plans. And one that I want to talk about specifically is, this is a second annual event, a new thing we tried last year, which is the World Food Festival. So last year we tried that out in downtown. It was a great turnout. We had 300 people join us for that. We had several different countries represented. Harley, am I imagining this, or did you make meatballs?
I did.
Okay, I thought that you did.
Sauerkraut and meatballs from German heritage.
Right? So, like, when you think of a World Food Festival, you think of things like, oh, well, empanadas and rice pudding and all these different things. It could also be German heritage. It could be Swedish heritage. Or maybe Iowa. Maybe you could make potato salad and corn on the cob and just have it be an Iowa thing, whatever you want to do. But we are looking for vendors to participate. We would love to have people sign up. There's a QR code at the bottom of that poster that's up there. You can sign up online. You can stop in the chamber. We just want to make sure we have enough food for the people that we know will come. We're moving the event to Veterans Park this year, just a little bit more family friendly. A lot of folks had kids and families come, and we just need a little bit more place to play. And we thought Veterans Park would be the perfect spot, and we're looking forward to that. It's $10 per ticket if you just want to come and enjoy the food, and it's $5 for kids. This year we're adding a few more activities. We had a Latino DJ last year who was really, really fun, and he will be coming back. We're going to add a piñata this year. We're hoping to keep it 12 and under, so Brad, 12 and under only. But if you have more questions about it, come and see me. But basically, if you're up for bringing 300 taste size samples and your own table and whatever else you need, we'd love to have you. Any questions about that?
Looking forward to it.
Great. And just a plug for anybody that's thinking about being around for Founders Day, I know we're still looking for a few volunteers for the Kids Bash and a few other things. So if you aren't signed up to help as a volunteer for that weekend, I would suggest contacting the chamber and finding a spot. There's a lot of fun activities, and we need a few more hands to make it work. Thank you.
Thanks, Joanne. Anything else, Jake? Okay. Thank you. We'll move to agenda item number 7. This is the citizens' opportunity to address the council with any item that's not on the agenda. Seeing no one here that would like to speak, we'll move to agenda item number 8, which is the consent agenda, and that includes approving the minutes from our June 3rd work session and our regular session, approving the bills to be paid this cycle, approve the department reports, and the minutes from the various boards and commissions that have met.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion from Harley, second from Rodney. Any discussion? Vote please, Deb.
Don?
Yes.
Harley?
Yes.
Brad?
Yes.
Rodney?
Yes.
Jessica? Yes.
Motion carried, thank you. Agenda item number 9 is a resolution approving the professional services agreement between the city and Bolton and Mink for recent park projects.
Casey Perry dropped off, so I'm it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, this is the professional services amendment for Central Park. Actually included the South Park pickleball court originally in the initial agreement with the city and our Bolton Mink for engineering services. Just kind of through the scope of the skate park construction and then reconstruction, and then Central Parks kind of gone to full-time RPR construction inspection just due to different circumstances, but just getting the project rolling and coordination, extra coordination needed with the prime contractor and subcontractors and everybody else involved in the project rolling. We have kind of proposed an amendment to our fees for all the work we've been doing out there to get the projects completed on the skate park and the now Central Park splash pad.
I would just note, so when we originally signed this contract, I believe at that time we had a smaller version of the skate park in mind, and then a basketball court and some walking trails. And then we had, the South Park pickleball project, and then just kind of, that project got scaled up quite a bit as, we went through final design, and then with the, generous funding support that we got from grants and donors. And then just, with the skate park and kind of some of the, quality concerns that, what warranted them coming back in town and at their expense, more or less reconstructing half of it last year, as well as, with the splash pad project, and that especially being one that we want to make sure when everything goes in the ground and is poured or set, it is done right. So, we asked Bolton to have people there pretty much on site monitoring that, just kind of living and learning from past projects. So you might be able to get away with it here and there with not having someone on site, but if you kind of make that default, you find things over time that wasn't caught or wasn't done right, or someone wasn't there to advise the contractor to make an on-site change, and you end up kind of eating that. So given the kind of the cost, really fun impact of that project, but also one of if something gets messed up underground, it's going to be problematic. We try to fix it later. That's why we asked Bolton to provide those additional oversight services. So we're looking at the total construction costs, for this project versus construction management. I think we're sitting at about 7%, which is in line with the industry standard.
Motion to approve the resolution.
Yeah, or unless anybody had any questions, but we have a motion from Rodney,
Yes.
I'll second.
second from Harley. Any discussion now?
The only other thing I'm looking for from you is I thought I saw somewhere where there was a chamber coffee this Friday.
There is,
And I haven't heard anybody say a word about it yet.
Oh,
Yeah, we're hosting the Chamber Coffee on Friday at our office. We're celebrating our 75th anniversary as a company. That official date was June 13th, so we all got together, all our offices. We have 37 offices now across the country, so about 1,000 full-time employees at Bolton Mink. So, big milestone considering when I started with the firm. In 2011, there was 225 employees, so, yeah. So, yeah, please come enjoy Chamber Coffee in Bolton.
And your address here is?
At the Forge and Bill.
Okay.
Yeah, Forge and Bill at Highway 18.
Okay, perfect.
So come eat a donut, you don't have to eat them all, huh?
Correct, yes, I will be there.
Okay.
Did you want me to give just a
Yeah,
quick update on the rest of the projects? Okay,
Yeah.
so I'll start with Central Park, obviously, that's kind of what we've been talking about here. July 1st is substantial completion. The contractor's pushing forward, they've made a lot of progress in the last month out there with the splash pad concrete, the splash pad features, mechanical improvements in the shelter house. They poured the floor in the shelter house today. So our splash pad subcontractor is planning on coming back and getting the final mechanical work done inside the shelter house, and be able to get the splash pad features all tested and up to speed before that July 1st. There's still some concrete work to do out there on the south and west end, kind of tying everything back into that south parking lot for the ball field. Obviously, we're leaving that kind of for last for just access for now to get the dirt work done. The city is putting in irrigation out there, so that'll get put in here shortly. Peyton Schindler is putting in landscaping this week, so hopefully by July 1st, the bulk of the work is done. The splash pad is functioning operationally. You know, working through some state permits with the general contractor, subcontractor CRS for final kind of plumbing approval. We're working on continued construction as is with revisions as needed, and they've been working through those with the state review engineer. So yeah, substantial completion is August 1st. Obviously there'll still be some grass seeds, some final cleanup, some plantings, some trees, that kind of stuff that may linger into July. But hopefully by end of July we have a splash pad that's operational, and hopefully we got some green grass growing out there. With irrigation, we should be able to grow grass even in the summer months here. It's obviously getting hot out, but we need the weather to cooperate a little bit. It's been wet, obviously, so getting that final dirt work done is going to require some dry days, but overall looking promising on hitting that July 1st substantial completion, and then the August 1st final completion, and hopefully the splash pad will be able to be open to the public late July. Sometime this summer, so you can actually use it for a couple months before it snows.
Yeah, the features and the umbrellas are up. I just saw it today. The lights went up last week, and then on the shelter house, that kind of the stone veneer on the bottom section there, that will get installed once the concrete in front of there is poured.
Yep. Kind of finishing up last year's projects, there's just some minor punch list items on Fit and Booster. Same thing with the 2023 street improvements, the Mill and Overlay project. There's some touch-up seating along Elm Street, Grant Street, and that kind of stuff that the contractor's been checking off the list. And then obviously we're working on the cultural district master plan, finalizing those that we had a work session on earlier. So one lingering project, 2022 Mill and Overlay project, still has some punch list items that haven't been taken care of. The contractor's been very non-responsive on getting that taken care of. So there is one project that's kind of sitting out there that's we're trying to get them to get done, because we're still holding several $1,000s for
I believe it's
Right.
about $70,000 in retainage, so much more than what the cost and value of the fixes are. So kind
Yeah.
of surprised of their lack of time.
Yeah, so we're working on them to get that completed, but hopefully in July, August, we'll be wrapping up, having final pay estimates for all of the previous year's jobs, and we'll keep working on Central Park and get that job wrapped up.
Thank you for all your work.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, we've got a motion and a motion from Rodney, second from Harley, then to approve this professional services agreement with Bolton and Maine. Any discussion? Vote please, Deb.
Don,
Yes.
Harley.
Yes.
Brad.
Yes.
Rodney.
Yes.
Jessica. Yes.
Motion carried, thank you. Agenda item number 10, we will move that to the end of our agenda. We'll move to agenda item number 11. This is a resolution concerning our audit services.
Every so often, we have to go out and procure services to conduct our annual audit, which is required by the state. Our last 3-year agreement with TP Anderson went through fiscal year end '23. So we had issued requests for proposals from Erpelding and Voigt, Sudol Tax and Accounting, and then TP Anderson and Co. TP Anderson was the only firm to submit a proposal. They've been our auditor for a long, long time. Just in talking to other communities, it sounds like there's only so many firms in the state that are kind of interested to do this type of work. They've been, good partner to work with, and so we recommend approving this would be a 5-year agreement with them for audit services.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion from Harley, second from Jessica, to approve this audit service agreement. Any discussion? Vote please, Deb.
Don,
Yes.
Harley.
Yes.
Brad.
Yes.
Rodney.
Yes.
Jessica. Yes.
Motion carried. Agenda item number 12 is a resolution pertaining to wages and benefits for city employees and officials.
This resolution sets the wages and benefits for the city for FY '25, which will begin here July 1, based on what we had budgeted for in terms of total dollars to fit in that, and then based on the recommendations of the Ways and Means Committee. So happy to answer any specific questions if there are some. Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion from Don, second from Jessica. Any discussion? Hearing none, vote please, Deb.
Don,
Yes.
Harley.
Yes.
Brad.
Yes.
Rodney.
Yes.
Jessica. Yes.
Motion carried. Agenda item number 13 involves outdoor liquor license for Founder's Day.
So for Friday night, the 12th, same as the last 2 years, proposing Peps would expand their existing outdoor service area with their liquor license for the north half of the block, and then Billy Joe's, this item is to approve an outdoor service area. They don't have an existing one, and they would cover the south half of that block with their liquor license, and then the signs would be down that dividing line. And the establishments are responsible for the enforcement in terms of, under Iowa's liquor laws, liquor cannot cross from one licensed entity into the other. And so that's why we have those signs, and they just abut. And like I said, the establishments, it's their responsibility to enforce that. But the last 2 years it's worked well, so we proposed the same setup for that Friday night, July 12th, and for the street dance and concert downtown on State Street.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion from Harley, second from Jessica. Any discussion? And Chief Lowe and the law enforcement all approved this too. I know we've been in touch with them, and it's worked the last couple of years, so like I say. Vote please, Deb.
Don,
Yes.
Harley.
Yes.
Brad.
Yes.
Rodney.
Yes.
Jessica. Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Agenda item number 14 also involves Founder's Day.
Yes, 2 years ago, when we kind of went to this change in venue, we also adopted a ordinance amendment to allow the city council to grant permission for persons under 19 to be on the premise of, let me just step back. So Peps is considered a bar under the city code, in that more than 50% of their gross revenue comes from the sale of alcohol. Our ordinance states that persons under 18 can't be on the premise after 8 p.m. Since they're extending their license, that would apply to the outdoor area. So under that ability for council to grant a waiver to that requirement or that limitation, we would recommend that allowing persons under 19 to be on the outdoor service area perhaps on July 12th from 8 p.m. to 11:59 p.m. Concert or the band plays till 11:30.
And we've done that the last couple of years as well.
Yeah.
Motion to approve the waiver.
Second.
Motion from Rodney, second from Don. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll please, Deb.
Don,
Yes.
Harley,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Rodney,
Yes.
Jessica. Yes.
Motion carried, thank you. Agenda item number 15 is the pay application for the wastewater treatment plant improvement project.
So this pay app is from Woodworth Construction. After the 5% retainage, the amount due with this pay app is $365,750. It is for, mainly for the mobilization of what they have on site in terms of setting up kind of a little campus of construction trailers, getting their cranes, equipment, and materials starting to stage on site. I know they were a little bit delayed with some of beginning work with having to do some pumping of a storm sewer in order to start kind of one of their initial rounds of improvements, and just with how there's been about 20 inches of water sitting in that. And so they're hopefully going to start pumping that, but they've mobilized a lot there on site. Engineers have reviewed and recommend approval.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion from Rodney, second from Jessica to approve this pay application to Woodruff Construction. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll please, Deb.
Don,
Yes.
Harley.
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Rodney,
Yes.
Jessica. Yes.
Motion carried. Agenda item number 16 is set a public hearing regarding the annexation of Peck property.
Yes, this would be for the former Ron Peck Auction House property. There's just south of town that the city received as a donation from Teats Foundation. So we think we got kind of the plan and logistics, or the fine details of the legal description in terms of how it impacts the roadway figured out. So we would propose setting that public hearing for July 15th, and then new notices will be sent for the hearing at that point. And then on July 15th, after we have that hearing, we'll consider a resolution officially annexing it into the city.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion from Harley, second from Don. Any discussion? Vote please, Deb.
Don,
Yes.
Harley.
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Rodney,
Yes.
Jessica. Yes.
Motion carried, thank you. It's good to see that moving forward, so. Agenda item number 17, concerns of approving of 4th of July holiday hours. As we know, the 4th of July this year falls on a Thursday, which then Friday is the 5th of July leading into the weekend. And we know there's very little foot traffic, usually on that day of the holiday, like this would be on Friday. And so I would just recommend that we give the city employees, other than, Jacob can clarify this a little bit more, but city employees other than the emergency, that day off, just as a midsummer perk, but also just to say thank you for the work and being able to enjoy a long weekend then with family and friends. So,
The emergency staff has to work that day, we just get credited with a vacation day to take at an alternative time, since they weren't able to enjoy that extra day.
Move to approve.
Second.
a motion from Don, second from Brad. Any discussion?
Enjoy it.
Yeah. Come back refreshed on Monday.
Thank you.
Vote please, Deb.
Don,
Yes.
Harley,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Rodney,
Yes.
Jessica. Yes.
Motion carried, thank you. Agenda item number 18 is final notification of the Housing Commission member Ben Stone has resigned, and his term expires the 1st of January of 2025. Ben Kern has agreed to fill his term, so I would recommend Ben Kern for the appointment to the Housing Commission.
Move to approve.
Second.
A motion from Harley, second from Brad. Any discussion? Vote please, Deb.
Don,
Yes.
Harley,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Rodney,
Yes.
Jessica. Yes.
Motion carried, thank you. And thank you, Ben Stone, for your contribution to that housing commission, and we look forward to working with Ben Kern. Agenda item number 19 refers to terms expiring on the library board of trustees. There are 3 trustees whose terms expire at the end of this month in June. Those are Mark Dreyer, Todd Buchanan, and Mike Nearson. Mark Dreyer and Todd Buchanan have agreed to extend their term for another 6 years. Mike Nearson has decided not to, although Mike has served on the library board, from what I understand, 20-plus years. So we certainly acknowledge that and thank Mike for his work on that. So to replace Mike, I have been in contact with Samantha Weichert, and as has Lori at the library, and Sam uses the library often, has children, and is excited about serving on the board. So I would recommend Samantha Weichert to serve on the library board of trustees.
And then the 2.
And Mark
Oh,
Dreyer.
I'm sorry, yes, and Mark and Todd, yes, to extend it.
Yeah.
Thank you, yeah.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion from Don, second from Jessica. Any discussion? Vote please, Deb.
Don,
Yes.
Harley,
Yes.
Brad,
Yes.
Rodney,
Yes.
Jessica. Yes.
Thank you, and thank you, Sam, for volunteering to serve. Agenda item number 20 is the first notification of an expiration of a term on the tree board, and that's Becky Zitrich. And again, this is just the first notification of that term expiring. So we will move into agenda item number 10 that we amended to the end, and this concerns the Housing Rehabilitation Loan Program.
Based on the comments at the last council meeting, seemed to be interested in seeing if we could do something through one of our, or through our existing housing revolving loan fund to provide financial assistance to those impacted by water damage or sewer backups from maybe storms. Probably using the term resolution was a little premature in terms of figuring out how we would go about doing this. I probably should have had a discussion item, but that's why I asked the mayor to look at amending that resolution, kind of moving it to the end to look at, just kind of have a discussion and get kind of clear direction in terms of council of how they would like to look at this. Direction for us on if we want to look at incorporating an amendment or not. Did a good deal of research trying to find what other cities had out there in terms of emergency loan programs. Sorry, my speaker's off. Our current program is you can have up to 120% of the county median family income for your household size. You're eligible. There's certain types of improvements like plumbing, furnace, siding, roofing, foundation work that's eligible. I have to submit an application. There's, asset restrictions and things like that, or limitations along with income. But then that goes to those applications. Once we get a complete application, it goes to the Housing Commission. If it's, meets all the criteria, it's approved. The Housing Commission approves it. Unlike the retail RLF, that committee is an advisory, and then council approves those loans. The Housing Commission is set up that they have the authority to approve those. So that's why housing loans never come before council for approval, as the commission has the authority. I say that because I'm trying to look at, what changes we might want to make for our housing rehab loan for kind of emergency repairs. To kind of see two, at least what I initially identified, and welcome additional thoughts, kind of items that, is a way we could help out. Is one, being kind of an expedited process, and then two, if it would be something where it would be on a reimbursement basis. For our retail RLF, during COVID, we rolled out an emergency RLF version of that program. With that, that was kind of a minor COVID, but as well as like if there's a fire or, things like that, or, that impacts a business, that are supposed to come before council, but it kind of given the time constraints or the seriousness of it, it does grant the mayor the authority upon the RLF committee's recommendation to execute that loan. So if they need it now, we don't, we're not going to meet for, another 12 days, but they've got a giant hole in the roof. It allows the mayor, again, with the consent of the committee, to go ahead and sign that. Instead of council where at, and, just from a speedy standpoint, what's important is, to be eligible, you can't have already incurred the cost. So looking at our housing program, with the commission already basically set up to approve those, we can move really quick, and, most of those members, they work in a bank or an industry, downtown, or they're all residents of town. We can get those meetings set up, sometimes within a couple of days, and then, so we can move quick on that as opposed to it's approved and then we might have to wait some time. So from an expedited kind of process-wise, I feel like what we have in place, would allow that. And then the other would be, if we wanted to look at something where it was on a reimbursement basis, which would be a little bit out there in terms of kind of what we've done traditionally as the city, and looking at trying to find what other cities have done. And I basically couldn't find any city that has a program like that. Looking far and wide, not just in Iowa, but in large cities, small cities, other states. Pretty much all of them are like, it has to be for, one to, make sure that it's eligible, it's, paid, the work's done correctly, it's paid. It's on a reimbursement level. Really we see even the ones that are termed that emergency RLF, and on those, it's you still have all the requirements that we currently have, like in ours, that we'd have to follow. It's just really, there's sometimes an expedited approval process. Which, as I said, I think our program already provides the means for that. The only difference would be is if we just, authorize the mayor to, sign those as opposed to having to get the housing commission to approve those. That said, if we were going to entertain going down something on a reimbursement, that can get really just circumstantial so quickly that is something I think we definitely want the housing commission to approve in terms of, is that for contractor work? If someone buys $100 and, a squeegee and broom and miscellaneous equipment to clean, we're not going to finance them. But if they, have to buy a couple $1,000s of carpet and they install it themselves, do we, reimburse for materials? So I like the idea of trying to find something to help people out, but kind of just looking at, practices of other cities in terms of, our management of, city dollars and, documenting those, damages up front, and that, it's not from lack of maintenance or they're actually caused by a disaster event, on a reimbursement basis. That gets pretty hairy pretty quick. But at the same time, kind of, the situation I really, feel for people is if, you have damage and, you don't have the, cash or the means on hand, if you gotta put something on a credit card, if you can even get financing, from a bank or a credit, now you're paying 20%, and that just, it makes a bad situation worse. So kind of after, spending time last week and over the weekend trying to, find a model we could maybe steal from, I haven't really found a good one that would kind of be on that reimbursement basis. Again, with kind of the emphasis being basically on what I've seen in other communities, it's really kind of that expedited approval process. Just happens how you kind of get the funds out. Or you could do a pre-approval letter where, okay, it's been through, everything looks out, it's approved, get the work done, and then, we're going to do a check. So I just kind of wanted to have that conversation, you know, based on what we had at the last, meeting, and then if there's other kind of direction from council on how we went about drafting something like this. I don't know, if and how many applicants we would get, for this. Or if there's other, means, council would like us to pursue.
Appreciate your research and looking.
Do you think a pre-approval letter would be helpful with, getting a contractor and, but I know the problem is like, if they do the work themselves, doesn't a lot of them probably do quite a bit of the work themselves. It's hard to reimburse them.
So the way like a typical housing loan works is, so we actually cut the check to the contractor directly. And so the easiest ones are always roofs, and getting a lot of those in the last couple of years because cost of replacing roofs have gone up quite a bit. That's these things go by, verify, and inspect, make sure the homeowner's satisfied with it, and then, we issue the check right to the contractor. But when the loan's approved, we send, 2 letters, one to the homeowner and one to the contractor, with, a copy of the same saying, they've been approved for up to X, so they do that pre-approval. So we could, I guess we have that system in place now that, we could do that as, and it might be a matter of basically taking the tools we already have, but just maybe, emphasizing and reframing them in terms of what it can be used for. It doesn't just have to be kind of your typically planned, home improvement project, but it still would have to be, an eligible expense, if they had, I'm just trying to think, if there was a, electrical, issues or sewer, kaput because of the, the storm damage. Well, we wouldn't have to make a judgment if it was the storm or not because the furnace is an eligible item. But where it might get messy is if you do, had to replace this much drywall and, put in new floor coverings in the bathroom and a new vanity, like, that's not things we would fund through the level. They're, kind of, structural thing, items. My computer's dead, so if you need to look anything up, I won't be able to.
But this is for recovery repairs. It's nothing about what was mentioned earlier about removing drain systems from the sewer line. Anything like that.
Or you hire a company to come and clean, under our current park, that wouldn't be, the line item.
It wouldn't be?
No.
This is just one facet we're looking at, right? This is just something right now that we can offer some loan programs in the near term, to get some things, get some money out there for people who are having issues. Like, we're gonna look at other avenues, right? Like of ways to help out people.
Well, I guess I'm asking for what avenues would you like us to go down?
Well, I mean, we're gonna possibly do this, and now you're, like Harley said it, connections where your footing tiles hooked up to the sanitary line, it's gonna cost a significant amount of money. What if we directed funds towards that and said, hey, if you have a legal connection, we'll direct some funds and help? And I don't know what that looks like, the help looks like. Is it a 0% loan where now they can have it done? Is it cost share? I don't know. I'd like to brainstorm those things, because if you can,
That's what's gonna be the long-term solution.
yeah, so like, I don't wanna just talk about this and then, you know, shut the door without having discussions on many other things.
Yeah, so when we updated these guidelines in 2019, we specifically added in there as eligible projects, improvements to bring a structure into code compliance. So something like an illegal connection, that's eligible. So again, they have to meet the income qualifications on that. The other item that we could, is typically done on those is you assess it to the property. They pay it off over so many years, financing it that way. I would say a typical practice that you see cities do is, because we don't want to be a bank, is, you charge a higher interest rate than what market is. So if they can find, if they have the means to do financing otherwise, or, pay for it themselves, they're, doing that and not using public resources. But, with interest rates where they're at, and we wanted to get, this system fixed, I, also could see that being, counterproductive. So that, kind of looking at how we do an assessment policy, to allow, to cover the cost of those footing drains. And then, the other, item we could look at is if there's some sort of, cost share that, okay, if you get disconnected, the city will, it's probably something we'll just, agree to pay the contractor directly or something, or we have a pot of money set aside out of the sewer fund, that, $1,000, to help, or it's, like I said, kind of maybe structure as a more of an incentive to move sooner than later. I think those would kind of be the three, kind of funding options we can go in terms of the footing drain path and how we could get those supported financially.
So some options to consider and talk more about.
Typically, I don't have a background in public works, so a lot of stuff I've learned the last couple of years, but, the type of instances, that we've had, we look at kind of, okay, is the city responsible or are we not? You look at that negligence, it's, was it a failure of maintenance? Did, we weren't, maintaining and cleaning our pipes, and they got, a main got, clogged. Was, did the sewer main collapse? Was it something that we did that caused it, or versus, the act of God where when you, get, historic rain events, that it, just overwhelms the system and, the city's not liable at that point in terms of, insurance claims and things like that. So if you want to look at like, doing a grant for impacted homeowners, do you draw that at sewer backup? If they had seepage issues, was that, actually sewer, our sewer water coming up, or, was it they have their sump pump or a footing drain tied into, their service line and they were flooding themselves out? I know there's probably about a half a dozen of those where we were getting calls the days after that, the backups, the kind of widespread backups were going, and we get a call saying, hey, I'm backing up. Our guys would go out, pull the manhole, the pipes flowing clear. There's obviously, something between you and, the main, and in those cases, it was like, well, it's still so wet, the footing drain is filling up with the, water from around their house and or their sump pump. And so when they go to flush the toilet, it's already at capacity, or, it's that footing drain water that's actually coming out. So if you try to, if we don't inspect every reported backup, we just, okay, if you say it's coming from the sewer drain, we count it as a sewer backup. In terms of, means testing, and if you're drawing that distinction or not, in terms of if you want to roll out a grant or a loan program specific for sewer, backup impacted properties, and then again, if we're not liable, how kind of a gray areas that could get into.
So this is just a question, could this ever be like a committee where they break off and discuss and come up with better plans? I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, we could, subcommittee of council to come up with, some recommendations, and or direct the housing commission to do it. I think it'd probably be, fine, maybe best just to do a subcommittee of the council, and we can invite, the housing commission into that, but, you have to brainstorm how to work this, or, look at, just study what other financing options are out there for both the short-term and big picture fixes.
I like that idea.
So I think, I don't think we need a formal agenda item if, tonight or at the next meeting, if the mayor wanted to just find a subcommittee and task him with that, I think he could.
Sure.
Okay.
Needs to be 3 or less to avoid quorums.
Right. Okay, anything else then on agenda item number 10?
Do we need to table that or something?
Do we, or what do we want to do with that?
They just take no action and then it falls off.
Okay.
And I guess, the interim, if, you guys, hear from anyone or, that is looking, for resources, under our current program, we can, try to make that, work. We have funds in that housing program, which is why when we updated that in 2019, we did the median family income at 120%. Almost every program elsewhere you see, those thresholds are at like 80 or 100%. But our thinking was like we had, that program had been slow for a number of years, and our rehab loan program had one threshold, and our down payment assistance had one threshold, and so they were different sources and different amounts, so it was confusing. So we just, let's make them the same and kind of err with the higher one. So I think like for, right now for a 2-family household, it's like $80,000 and you're eligible, at 120%. So, while it is, means tested, it's, it's a relatively much more generous than what you see out there typically for any government type of loan program, that if the work hasn't been done, it's still something they're eligible, we could, potentially finance through that program.
Okay. I'll be in touch then with members to appoint that subcommittee. Director Jacob, and we'll work on that.
You can get in contact with me, Rick.
Okay, I wrote your name down.
You could ask for volunteers tonight.
Yeah, if you want to.
I could, okay. So we've got Brad. Anyone else like to be on that?
I brought up the idea.
Okay. I have your name written down as well.
I knew you would.
Okay.
I know Kathy's. I thought I heard her volunteer.
I heard her name too.
I thought I heard Kathy.
I can check.
2 players to be named later.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, one more.
And I just to be clear, so I guess the objective of that subcommittee would be to identify and make recommendations in terms of financing and funding sources to deal with sewer improvements.
Sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think that brings us to the end of our agenda. It is 6:45, and before we adjourn though, I do want to thank Shay Hill just for being our videographer today. I failed to do that earlier. So I would entertain a motion then to adjourn our city council meeting.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. Our city council meeting is adjourned, so thank you everyone for joining us.